here early in the morning, heart of South Philly. Let's go see what the people have got to say. I'm ready to roll, baby.
Now listen here, Dutch. Mets and the Cowboys, they suck.
1, 2, 3, go Birds! Go Birds! Here we go, 302BIRDS, United States. Go Birds! Oh my gosh, Chad.
Your favorite Chicagoan. Go Phils.
As always, God bless. Go Birds.
Get your water ice and soft pretzels ready because you are now tuned into a 302BIRDS podcast experience. Proudly presented by TickPick, Nick's Pizza, El Diablo Burritos, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street. Let's take it to the show.
Catapulting you into the stratosphere of Super Bowl week coverage. If you guys can't tell, I'm pumped up. Maybe by the hat, maybe by the attire. If you know me, you know this suit only comes out in moments when we need this suit. This suit probably hasn't been washed in 5 years, just like Ashley's dad's jersey and every other man in Philadelphia's clothing. But it don't matter when it got that right stink on it. Guys, I got a really good feeling about this week, knocking on wood. But last time we played the Chiefs, we didn't have Saquon Barkley, and we didn't have Jalen Carter. We'll let ladies take it first real quick. Ashley, how you feeling Super Bowl week?
I am hyped. I am so excited. It has been a very fun energy surrounding my household this week. Our next door neighbors are Chiefs fans. So there's been, if you follow me on TikTok, there's been some action back and forth between all of the different families. I'm actually stationed down in the basement so that I can see when they inevitably run across our yard to do something. We'll see what they have planned tonight. It is so fun. My entire family will be together for the Super Bowl, which coming from where all of us live in different places, it's going to be super fun to have everybody together for the first time in a while and the last time until probably my wedding in June. So it'll be super fun.
Wow, and congratulations to you and Connor, too. We're all really excited for that wedding as well as a podcast. That's going to be a blast.
Videos to come in June on that one.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that there will be a lot of them and many videos to come of our guy, KJ McCoy, on the dance floor, who, you know what? I'll just let him take it first. He's not here tonight. This is the only Sixers talk we got for you guys. We'll just get it out of the way first.
Well,
then we're going to get into our call-ins.
Some breaking news here.
Oh, I did see that. Take it away.
Yes. Jimmy Butler is for sure not coming to Philly. He has been signed to the Warriors. I don't know contract details. It literally just came across my phone about 30 seconds ago. So, breaking NBA news. But now we can listen to KJ and hopefully he doesn't say something about Jimmy Butler coming.
You are now listening to KJ's Court. Sixers Talk presented by the Sleeper app.
What's up, guys? I am in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida right now. So that's why I am not on the show tonight. So I'll be back in Philly tomorrow, so don't worry. You'll be seeing me, hopefully, all of us, celebrating like savages on Broad Street, hopefully. I mean, fingers crossed when the Birds win it. But we got some KJ's Court to talk about. And actually, it might be the most active KJ's Court, because I love when this happens. When we have trades that happen, transactions that happen in the league in general, it's just always great to talk about. I would love to talk about this in more detail. I just got to mention it, though. The craziest trade, I think, in NBA history happened. And this happened literally out of nowhere. Luka Doncic getting traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. Also, the Utah Jazz were involved in the trade as well. So they did a three-way trade. That is the craziest trade I've ever heard of, ever seen. So, point blank. But let's get into what happened with the Sixers. So, obviously, Embiid is back. He scored, I believe, he had 29 points. Good returning game. But the Sixers actually shipped out some players. Oh my God, there's a plane. Sorry about that. They actually traded away Caleb Martin, who we actually thought was going to be a great piece for this team. I still think he could have been. But the problem is that we're not really finals contenders anymore, and that's what he was really here to do, is to really be the Celtics stopper and really be the guy to help beat the Celtics, help really beat them in a 7-game series, and stop some of their best players defensively. So we traded him away. We traded him to the Mavericks and got Quentin Grimes from the Dallas Mavericks, also played for the New York Knicks. Great three-point shooter. And then we just traded away KJ Martin to the Detroit Pistons. So hopefully this is some signs that we are going to go crazy and go for a big trade and maybe get back Jimmy Butler. We'll see what happens. Go Sixers, but most importantly, go Birds. KJ McCoy from Florida signing out. Peace.
Close, Ash. You called it.
I know.
there at
I
the
was like,
end.
wait. No, yeah, no. Okay, Jimmy Butler is not coming back to Philly. End of discussion. There's really nothing else to talk about with the Sixers, because why would we talk about the Sixers during the Super Bowl week?
Super Bowl. I've been saying it all season long. And now, just like a little boy, my wish has came true under the Christmas tree. Santa, Rick, Philly Santa, the guy I have the autograph from, he's courteous to all 30 other NFL fan bases, just not the Cowboys, because we have had that conversation before. But let's kick it to Jack's weekly call-ins to see just how the general vibes are, because as you guys can see, I'm like a kid on Christmas.
What do I want when I'm in the state of Delaware? Of course, El Diablo Burritos. Customer service always is serving your food with a smile on their face, asking how your day is, but their food is phenomenal as well. Their burritos are out of this world, one of the best burritos in town. Their queso is phenomenal. Their burrito bowls are amazing as well. When you're in and around Delaware, stop by your local El Diablo Burritos and tell them that 302BIRDS sent you. God bless you.
Shard, how you feeling, man?
Yo, I am honestly, this week has felt like a month, dude. Like this week has just been slow. I feel like every day that we get closer to Sunday, my nerves are just more and more racked. I feel, I don't even want to say confident. Like I feel better than we did in 2022, but like at the same time, it's the fucking Chiefs, and you know, the Chiefs have the refs in their back pocket. They want to pay them, and anything can happen. But like, we got to get the job done, man. And I'm nervous.
Yeah. And I know one storyline as well that's in Shard's household is Shard's brother is a Chiefs fan. Apparently, we found out breaking news before the show, not by choice.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, I'll get into some story time. Our dad is from Missouri. He grew up, a Chiefs fan. I skipped, firstborn. I skipped being a Chiefs fan. I guess my dad was disappointed that I, became a Phillies fan due to my mom's side of the family. So my dad, had another son, my brother, and I guess, converted him into a Chiefs fan. I don't know why the hell that happened, but my brother is a Chiefs fan. He's a quote unquote Eagles fan. Not really. But yeah, I mean, we've been beefing all this week, dude. Like just straight back and forth, going at each other. And he claims that the Eagles are going to get revenge. We'll see what happens. I mean, kudos to him for being, I guess, realistic on that end. But he's just, Ryan, if you're watching this, you're not an Eagles fan, dude. You got to give it up. His username is literally Mahomes Visuals on TikTok.
We've been trying to change it to Hertz Visuals for 2 years now, I will say.
I don't understand you can have two teams. That kills me.
It's like if I was a fan of the Cowboys and, like the Texans. Oh, I live in Dallas, so I'm fans of both teams. It makes no sense.
You get one team.
You
Not
don't
when
see...
you're Matt Bear. Sorry.
You know, I mean, you don't see me hopping on the bandwagon of the Chiefs just because my dad is a Chiefs fan. It's like you got to choose one team and you got to stick with it.
I will say, I think it's okay though to have teams that you cheer for when you like are able to. I mean, I think about like my fiance, right? He will never call himself a true Eagles fan. His dad would freak out, but he certainly is cheering for the Birds. We have family in Kansas City that has texted us and said, I apologize, we can't talk until Tuesday, which is fine. I don't care. I mean, they are picking who they think are going to win, and I'm pretty confident in the Birds, depending on when you ask me specifically.
If you are a fan of any other team and you are rooting for the Chiefs three-peat, I want you to look yourself in the mirror and really think about your values. Because let me tell you, knock on wood, if the Chiefs three-peat, you will never, for the next 5 years, 10 years even, hear the end of this shit.
Nope.
I swear to God, you will never hear the end from sports analyst, from fucking Roger Goodell, Tom Brady, whoever the fuck you want to say, you will never hear the end of it. And Chiefs fans, they're already cocky as shit. You will never hear the end of it. And then you got the whole aspect of, oh, if Patrick Mahomes wins this game, he's better than Tom Brady. I got to pull out my Tony Romo. I don't know, Jim. But, like, I just, we got to win, dude. Like, we've already ended a three-peat with the Patriots in, 2018? Granted, they won the year after, whatever.
Well, that was the three-peat. So we did it. We just did it in the middle.
But I like our chances. I do. But at the same time, and I hate to say it, everybody's better than Patrick Mahomes until it's time to play Patrick Mahomes. I got to be realistic.
That's real. That's a real point. Yeah.
I got to be realistic. I mean, like, they have a, I love Andy Reid. I can't root for the Chiefs, but I love Andy Reid. He's a fucking hell of a coach.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I don't know.
I saw that. I think it was ESPN that did a ranking between the Chiefs and the Eagles on all of the different positions on both sides of the ball, right? The Eagles had the Chiefs beat in all but I think 5 or 6 categories, which if you're looking at all the different positions is pretty impressive. However, you look at quarterback, you look at tight end, and you look at kickers, and I'm like, those 3 positions are incredibly, incredibly important. I'm really worried about Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
If Jake Elliott is on, as we know that he can be.
He's inside, though. He's inside.
But he's been inconsistent.
There is no wind, but I did say this. Ash, I'm glad you brought that up. And Shard, there's one thing I wanted to say, too, before I go into this. I'm glad Shard brought this up. This is the one thing, Eagles fans, that you should root for. For those on Spotify that can't see, I'm singing dramatic music because Deebo Samuel is rocking an A.J. Brown jersey. Who would have thought? This is the point, like in 2018, when we were playing the Patriots and everyone was just rooting for us. When Philly is backed by everyone, magical things happen. There's just so many parallels politically, like culturally, everything to 2018. Like if you look back, life is almost the same way that it was. So I really expect, and I'm knocking on wood, I've been knocking on wood all week, but I expect the Eagles to win this game. And then the other thing I wanted to say is if we lose this game because of Jake Elliott or because of the referees, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Like I'll be upset, like really upset, like mad at the team, like for a good amount of time. If we lose this game because of Patrick Mahomes and like something that he does, I'm going to be upset. Don't get me wrong. I'll still be mad, but it won't be like, it won't be the feeling of like, we had him on the rope. You know what I mean? But we had the self-inflicted wound. I would rather lose in a more respectable way where it's like last time almost where there was the Bradbury call. So it's the referees is what you've still heard about to this day, or the fumble with Jalen Hurts. Like if the Eagles go out there and play a clean game and lose because like Patrick Mahomes just goes out and throws a touchdown, whatever. But if they lose because of the referees or something else like that, then I'm going to be, actually breaking my TV probably.
No, if we lose, I'm going to Baltimore and buying heroin. I mean, it's over. I just can't.
God,
no. We need to win. We need to win. We need to win. We just need to win. I cannot deal with another Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs. Okay, I like Andy Reid. I really do. He's a great coach. I rooted for him in other Super Bowls. I cannot take this loss. I mentally, physically, whatever else, I can't take it. I cannot take it. I have so much mental health riding on this game. It's probably not healthy, but that's what sports do to people. That's just a fact.
Let me ask you guys a question. Because I went out last night to dinner. And I'm a very superstitious person. If there's something in front of me, I take it as a sign. And I think I can't remember if I texted in the group chat last night, but two things happened. One, I went to Buffalo Wild Wings. Out of all of the tables, they sat me at the Eagles table. So I take that as sign number one. Sign number two, I go to Walmart. Guess what the number was of the lane that I checked out in? 26. So I don't know if those are signs. I don't know if superstitions are really a real thing. I don't know if signs are a real thing. I'm going to take it as a sign that I should probably put $10 on Saquon Barkley breaking 150. But
have you guys realized all the parallels between Saquon Barkley and Cooper DeJean with the Super Bowl?
Birthday.
It's both of their birthdays, and then if you add up their numbers,
59.
So my brothers were going through all of that last weekend, and we have the team to do it. If we're going to win it, this is the year.
There's a meme I got to find somewhere. I'll find it while you guys are talking. But long story short, it's basically all the conspiracies that you could make up about Super Bowl 59. And I was cracking up at it because some of them were legit things. Here it is.
What is
some
that?
of them just don't make sense. Like the football that they just indicate that there's a football on the trophy is kind of
people have too much time on their hands. Have you seen the one about
insert music? But it is kind of weird that the Eagles and Chiefs ended up in the Super Bowl because you guys know damn well I was riding that pony, definitely riding that pony back in March as soon as the logo got released. I definitely damn well said that shit. I know I said it about Brazil too. I made videos about it where I was like, green, and then they were like, oh, it's the Packers. And I was like, ha. And then they're like, oh, it's the Browns. And I was like, ah. And they're like, oh, it's the Packers. I was like, oh, shit. So it ended up working out. But there's a lot going on with the NFL. Vibes are definitely immaculate right now in Delaware. I think people are just excited. They're excited to talk about the game. Everywhere you go, everywhere you look, it's funny because there are some people, I was walking around the mall and some of the guys that work at the juice bar or something, I've never seen them wear an Eagles hat in their life. And it's not just a Super Bowl merch from this year. It's they're breaking out the old merch from 52 when they were that hype about it. So when the Eagles are very good, everybody's just in a better mood in the area. Vibes are better. And I think it's going to lead to good things overall. But I want to get to our first segment because our next segment, we actually got Havens coming on for his keys to success. But I wanted to talk about this because this has been a story and I want to get your guys' thoughts. But NFL fans and mainly the ones that, lost and are not in the game watching from their couch at home are boycotting the Super Bowl. Yes, this is a legit thing. I didn't think it was a legit thing until my boy, NFL Mike, my guy, was sharing this stuff on his Instagram. Look, I get it. In all seriousness, fans are upset. It's the Patriots and one of the most hated teams in the NFL. We know we're a bad taste, but we taste good to ourselves. We've been tasting it our whole lives. Tastes delicious, in fact. Anyway, point is, the fact that some people are boycotting it and not watching it so that the Nielsen ratings go down or shit like that. 49ers fans, you guys have been boycotting the Super Bowl indirectly since last year for a long time, winning one. And Cowboys fans have even less room to talk You guys have been boycotting the Super Bowl since like the fucking 1990s. So I really don't want to hear it. We're boycotting the Super Bowl. You've been boycotting the Super Bowl pretty much since the Super Bowl was a thing, except for the 90s. So I really don't want to hear it. This actually was kind of insulting to me because this is a national holiday for all NFL fans. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
Hey, I don't care. Quick. I don't care if 10 people watch this game. Hold on.
What were you saying, Chard? Go ahead.
Sorry, I know we were talking about the I don't mean to cut you off, Josh. I apologize. I know you guys were asking about the contract for Jimmy Butler. It's 2 years, $121 million, extension with Warriors through 26-27.
Okay.
Boycott in the Super Bowl, Shard. How are you feeling about it? Salty fans? Not salty?
So I get both sides of the coin. I mean, we've seen the Super Bowl before, so I get it. Like, you know, people are like, oh, we've watched this before. It's just going to go the same way. And really, to me, I find that to be a bunch of bullshit because I feel like, you know, and I've said this to a lot of people that I've talked to, especially like coworkers when we talk about the Super Bowl. I feel like this roster is better. Last Super Bowl, you know, the Chiefs didn't see Jalen Carter. They didn't see Quinyon Mitchell. They didn't see Cooper DeJean. They didn't see Zach Bond. I could go through the entire list. Big guy. They didn't see Saquon Barkley. So, you know, if you want to boycott the Super Bowl, fine, whatever. I mean, you're probably going to miss a hell of a halftime show. But I can't agree with it. I can't. I feel like this is going to be a monumental game. I could see it going multiple ways in terms of score. And I just think it's going to be one of those games like Super Bowl 57 that you look back on and you talk about. Because, I mean, granted, we lost Super Bowl 57, but Jalen Hurts had one hell of a performance in that game. And, you know, like you were saying earlier, if Hurts didn't fumble in that Super Bowl, we probably would have won that Super Bowl. And I think, you know, and we can get into this later, but one of the things that came out over the past week from the last Super Bowl was that Lane Johnson said they did not adjust at all during halftime during last Super Bowl. And it showed in that second half. So I really think, again, going into some differences, and this will be my last point, I think that the coaches this year are really good, and we've seen it this entire season at adjusting, and they come out and they're firing the second half. This entire season, we've seen it. They're firing the second half of games.
Yeah, they're nailing it. Josh, I have a question for you. Have you ever boycotted a Super Bowl?
Okay, one, nobody's going to boycott the Super Bowl. Everybody's still going to bet on it. Maybe the ratings are a little bit lower. Who cares? What I was saying, I don't care if 10 people watch the Super Bowl. I don't care if those 10 people are in my basement. As long as the Eagles win, that's all I care about. Because for the rest of my life, I can say the Eagles have 2 Super Bowls that I've been alive for. And honestly, was like a fun age to watch them win. So, no, I don't care about the boycotting. Nobody's actually going to do it. Everybody who cares about the Super Bowl is still going to watch. No football fan is going to boycott the Super Bowl. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Go Birds.
Yeah, no, definitely is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That, you know, even though your team's not in the Super Bowl, you're going to boycott it. It's one of the nation's biggest. It is the nation's biggest competition, biggest stage. So you're really going to be salty. You know, oh, you know, Nick Sirianni is not a good coach. Doesn't deserve to be, you know, in this Super Bowl. Or Giants fans, you get, oh, Saquon Barkley. Oh my God, he made it to the Super Bowl. I can't watch it because he's in the Super Bowl. Like. It's like Josh, for example, he's not a Notre Dame fan. He is not a Ohio State fan, and he watched the national championship. So people who are actually sports fans, they're gonna watch it, and not even if you don't watch the whole game and just watch like the commercials because the commercials are great, still watch it. Like that's really sad that people are that salty about it, and I have no, you know. I don't really care what they think. But you got to watch a Super Bowl.
And let's be honest,
at all.
And every American is going to take an opportunity to drink late Sunday night so they can call in sick to work Monday. So, I mean, this is dumb. This is dumb. Okay.
Unless you already called out. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think
that
all
might be
Eagles
one
fans
of
called
Dalt's keys to success. Bring the keys. Anyway, calling out of work early when an Eagles Super Bowl because you know you're probably not going to make it in the next day, whether you're crying all night or celebrating. But it's a big week, probably the biggest week of them all for Joey. Joey's been providing us, blessing us with his keys to success all season long. Havens, what's up, Beast?
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
What's up,
Doing
Haven?
good. I'm excited. Super Bowl week. I'm ready. Just can't wait for Sunday at 6:30.
So what are some of your keys to success for Nick Sirianni and this team to capitalize on some of their mistakes in 2022 and bring it home this year?
Their biggest thing, I know I mentioned this one was honestly the biggest thing that I've told like anybody that's asked me is Travis Kelce is the number one thing you got to stop just because the success that tight ends have had against the Eagles in the postseason this year. It's just not a good look against one of the better tight ends in the league in the Super Bowl. And I don't know, I don't remember like off the top of my head how he did last time. I know he did pretty good, I think. He usually does pretty well against the Eagles. So they just got to keep him. Don't let him go crazy because I think the Eagles will do all right against their receivers. I really do think that. I know Xavier Worthy's fast and Smith-Schuster's experienced, whatever. It's the Eagles. Their secondary has been playing out of this world. I don't think there's any reason they won't do it again. I just think that if they can get, like I said, Zach Bond, I think he'll have a really good chance to play a lot of coverage on Travis Kelce. And I think if he can step up to that test like he's been doing all year, I think the Eagles will walk away from this one victorious.
Zach Bond interception. Lock it.
Respect. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, one thing that, and Joey probably hit on this, one thing that is in the Eagles' favor is the Chiefs are not a really good run stop defense. They mainly are, medium passing kind of routes and things like that. So, I mean, that's our edge that we have. And we didn't have, I mean, we had two good running backs in the last two Super Bowls we played in. But I think Saquon Barkley is different. And you're going to see, especially the fact that this is Saquon Barkley's first Super Bowl, going to a new team, is in the Super Bowl. You're going to see a beast unleashed that you have never seen all season long. Forget the 255 yards. This is going to be maybe not 255 yards, but you're going to see some crazy shit, and Saquon Barkley is going to come up top.
Hey, can I ask a question while we're on the topic of Saquon Barkley? Did you guys see Nick Wright's comments about Saquon and how the Eagles haven't played a defense like the Chiefs, and, he won't do that against the Chiefs? Like, what do you guys think about that comment? Like, I'm curious to your guys' opinions.
I mean, a defense that barely beat the Panthers, come on now. You won by 3 points. And the Panthers are not a good offensive team at all. So that's crazy. I mean, I think the toughest defense we've played this season is going to be the Commanders, the Packers. But I mean,
don't say it.
We've seen, it doesn't matter. Like, you guys barely, granted, you are 15-2 this season. But that defense, there were some holes in that defense that, we're going to expose. So that's just crazy talk. And that's just slander for any person that's not an Eagles fan. They want to see, the Eagles fail as much as possible. So that's just some bullshit. And that's just not true at all. I mean, the Bills are a better defense. And, it's just crazy talk. Crazy talk. That man needs to go to a freaking psych ward.
I think it's not the fact that they almost lost to certain teams. It's that consistently they were mostly winning really close games when the Eagles had a lot more blowouts, which I personally think that the closer games are how we learn and how we kind of figure out where those weaknesses are. However, the Chiefs were consistently doing it. When, like, the Eagles, we would have a close game and then we would typically have a couple of commanding wins after that. Ultimately, I feel like we are set up for success in the fact that we had such a crappy start to the season. we were 2-2, and I will say there were some people on this podcast who were freaking out. I'm not going to mention names, but there were people who were freaking out and saying this is, we have the best team on paper, but we're not doing anything with it. So I think that Saquon, again, all of the tools are there to create this truly a blowout Super Bowl win. But it's mostly how do we put that? Can they perform under the lights? The Super Bowl is really hard because you have a week of prep and then you have a week of media and everything else. So I want to make sure that their heads are in the game. I think if we can shut down Travis Kelce, I think we'll be okay. But if we are not able to do that, and if they're not able to force turnovers, a fun stat is every team that has lost in the playoffs thus far this season has had at least 3 turnovers. Teams who don't turn the ball over, they win. Simple equation.
It's true.
Chiefs also haven't put up, I think, other than the Bills game, they haven't put up 30 points at all this season, other than the Bills game.
Yeah, that was the first time.
So, I mean, shout out to Connor for this comment here, but he kind of said what I was thinking. They haven't really had a high-scoring game all season. And, Ash, like you said, it's been close all season. They've been lucky. Granted, that Chiefs devil magic, Taylor Swift devil magic. They probably got a little devil worshipping ring underneath Arrowhead. They just, I don't know. I don't know how you stop Saquon. I mean, we've seen it in the postseason so far. You stack the box and he's still finding a way through. Even if you stack the box, the ball's going deep to AJ or Smitty or whoever else is out there.
Dallas Goedert,
Grant Calcaterra. Like, I could really see if Kellen Moore really wants to, I could see him pulling out some plays where, Jahan Dotson's going down the field and going up for a ball.
Yeah, the Chiefs have let up 112.9 rushing yards per game this whole season. And, I mean, Saquon Barkley averages that. Like, it's crazy. But, yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that I hope we don't do is get away from the running, because that is our bread and butter. Granted, you want to feed the ball to A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, Devonta Smith, Jahan Dotson. Like, you want to feed it to them, but, like, utilize the strengths we've have against their weakness. And like I said, their weakness is the run. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Dalton, you know what the key to success is on Sunday? All right.
What's that, Josh?
What time is kickoff? 6:30?
Yes.
6 or 6:30? All right.
6:30.
You want to make sure your wings and your cocktail are ready by 6:15. You don't want to plan right for 6:30 because that's going to mess up.
Love the way this guy's thinking already.
You want to wake up. You want to put the beer on ice by 10 a.m. Okay. You don't want it to be warm. Or you don't want to forget about it mid-afternoon and be like, oh my God, am I ready to go? All right. You want to make sure the seating charts are done before people start showing up so your guests know where to sit, because I know Jack and I have our magical seats. Ain't nobody sitting there, okay? So communication is key, just like it will be in the game. Planning, review, plan, execute, right?
Yep. I love that. I mean, somebody's got to, handle that shit, because you're right. Mojo is a humongous thing in Philadelphia. Havens, I know you've been quiet over there. This is your segment, so I want to let you get into it as well. Ashley brought it up. We talked about it a little bit, about how this Eagles team hasn't turned over the ball at all throughout the playoffs, really. How much do you credit that to Jalen Hurts? How much do you credit that to Kellen Moore? Do you credit that to the team as a whole, just kind of learning from 2022? Because it's been big, definitely, for their success.
I think I'd attribute a lot of it to just Jalen's decision making. I know after the Buccaneers game, I think it's 1 interception he's had. And so the first 4 games weren't the best decision making. And I think some of the interceptions early on weren't even some of them weren't completely his fault. Some of them I think were dropped or tipped or stuff like that. So I think Jalen's decision making has been way better. He's just not putting the ball in harm's way. And then even the running backs, I don't think any of them have really fumbled all year. knock on wood again, but like that was a big thing. Like everybody, I've heard it all week. The first play of the game, Miles Sanders in 2022, he goes out of bounds, but he fumbles the football. Like you could tell he was already rattled. He was out of it. He wasn't focused. Like if Saquon does that this week, I'd kind of be shocked and go, what? But like that's just not something we're gonna see. Like I think this team is just so locked in, and so they have their goal and they know what it is, that they're so hyper focused on it that they can sit on, like AJ Brown can sit on the sideline during a playoff game and read a book and still be that focused and locked in a game. And the very next, like it's insane to like see what this team's done all year, and just they've stayed so focused and so together that it's just helped them grow as a team and just consistently get better each week.
Yeah, I hear what you mean. I mean, like that decision making, like you said, specifically, like when you look at the 2 years of where he's failed, where he's succeeded, he knows what to do and what not to do with the ball. So I think you hit the nail on the head there. Joey, I appreciate you for jumping on here. I appreciate you for giving us your keys to success. Any last words or a score prediction for Sunday's big game?
Yeah, honestly, so two things. I know everybody's talking about Saquon Barkley. I think just one more key, just this offensive line, just bullying people. And because really, when Saquon gets outside, he breaks like a tackle or two, but he doesn't really have to do much work. He's got green grass ahead of him. That's because the big boys up front just making so much space for him. He credits them every time. And I think the Eagles are going to win. I think it'll be a 10-point victory, 31-21. Late Saquon touchdown ices it. He'll get MVP, all that. And go Birds.
Go Birds. I'm glad you brought that up too as well, Havens, because that was one thing as well that some people were talking about, and I heard Barkley talk about when he picked Philadelphia, the big boys up front were a big reason why he came here. And I saw a stat today that the Eagles have something like the heaviest offensive line in NFL history. 1688 pounds, the heaviest offensive line. So this is a unit out there. And Barkley's looking at this team like, holy shit, I can run behind like not just a great offensive line, one of the best offensive lines of all time. We heard he was close to Chicago. I think that the two deal breakers for Barkley coming here was the fact of the offensive line. He knew that he could have success. But the other thing that I heard that I didn't know this, I don't know if you guys ever knew this, he was friends with Kobe, like personal friends, not like, they hung out every Sunday, but they were friends. They had talked. And when Kobe passed away, that hit him really hard. Well, he obviously knew Kobe Bryant was a diehard Eagles fan. And I wonder how much of that went into play of him wanting to honor Kobe as an Eagles fan, because I know Kobe Bryant right now is looking down, smiling more than ever, proud more than ever of what he's accomplished, because from 2022, this team has learned.
Doesn't he wear, I saw like a video or something. Doesn't he wear like an earring?
It's Kobe's logo, like his shoe brand, the Black Mamba or whatever. He has that the earring that he wears every game, and that's new since he came to Philadelphia, because he truly, like Dalton just said, Kobe was his mentor. So that's why he respects Kobe so much. He's a Philly guy. So yeah, that's why he wears that earring. It's literally the Kobe shoe brand logo on his ear.
Dalton, I have real bad asthma. Jack has seen me have an asthma attack. I could be having an asthma attack and successfully run behind this offensive line. I mean, like, not even a question. They are so athletic. They are so smart. And best of all, they like to hit people. Like, they enjoy run blocking because you get to hit people. Whereas when you're pass blocking, you're kind of not being aggressive. Like, you kind of just have to hold the line. They enjoy run blocking, and they don't have to do a whole lot in run blocking to get Saquon the space he needs. So, it's a match made in heaven, and I hope that it climaxes on Sunday.
Me too, my man. Thank you for going down there too. Your camera quality is way better with Jack too. You two should like hug it out or something over there. It's a beautiful angle. I'm not gonna lie.
Exciting whites right here. Exciting whites right
It
here.
is exciting whites. Maybe they'll let you guys join the club too, because I know they're letting Giovanni join. So if they're taking white boy applications, you got two good looking ones down there that are definitely down. But from 2022, the biggest thing that is the difference from me is, this team knows you. I think that this is going to be the third time, if I'm not mistaken, in the past 3 years that we played the Chiefs, because we had the Super Bowl and then we had the season after where we beat them. So that's 1-1, and then this will be the third time. So we know this team. They know us. They have an exceptional defensive coordinator in Spagnuolo too. I think that the Chiefs defense doesn't sometimes get the credit that it deserves. That was one thing I was going to say. And that's something I would be aware of, especially their linebackers. Like Nick Bolton, even though I watched him on media night and I thought that some of the things that he was saying, I was just like, Jesus Christ, get the microphone away from this guy. Like, he was one of those players where you're like, stop talking. Like, geez. But he's an insane football player and somebody that I wanted the Eagles to draft. And he was one of those diamonds in the rough. Fell to the Chiefs. I think he was one of the last picks in the first round, if not early second round, but fell to the Chiefs and has broken out. So the biggest thing for me is going to be getting that offense going early, but not just early. Like, we all know what happened last Super Bowl when halftime we were up, I think it was 24-14. Then we lost. Like, keep the foot on the gas pedal the entire game, just like you did with Brady. Because Mahomes is that guy that once you let up an inch, he'll take a mile. So we'll see. But some injury updates now for the Eagles. Anybody got any injury updates? I know we don't have any doctors here, but Shardy.
So I got a few updates. Let me pull up the practice report from today.
I pinched my finger in a door yesterday. I worked on that. That really hurt.
Thank you. I'm glad to know that Josh Sepp from the couch will be okay screaming from his TV. He's questionable, though.
Take the heartburn pills Sunday morning. A lot of wings, a lot of alcohol. You don't want to end up there.
So everybody practiced. The only people limited were Jalen Carter, Gainwell, Brandon Graham, and Devonta Smith. I think they're all going to play. I mean, there's no reason why they're not. Jalen Carter was kind of a surprise, though. He has an illness. I think Big Boy will down some Sunny D and some Dayquil. Maybe, take a booster shot, some liquid IV. He'll be fine. Otherwise, it's going to be a flu game, So if he vomits on the field, don't be surprised, but whatever. I need that guy out there. I need him out there. I have this weird suspicion and this weird feeling that, like, we're going to see a repeat of the end of Super Bowl, or the Super Bowl we won, where Brandon Graham strip sacked Brady. I just have this weird feeling that, like, Nolan Smith, with the help of Jalen Carter, is going to come around the corner and just smack the ball out of Mahomes' hand. I have that feeling. But injury wise, I mean, everybody's playing. I think the only two concerns that people had going into this week were Cam Jurgens, which, I mean, he was on his feet last night for over an hour and he said he was playing. He said he was fine. And Landon Dickerson. And again, he said last night at media night, or was it last night or 2 nights ago? Whatever. They both said they're fine. So they both said they're playing. I would expect everybody to play. It's a big game. And having those guys up front definitely helps. We saw granted, Saquon went off in that Commanders game when Landon stepped in. That first drive, he went for a touchdown. But I still think it's a difference between Landon and Cam. So that's really only injuries that I have.
And then if you really care, it's not that big of a deal. But on the Chiefs side, Mahomes, ankle injury. but he's full participation. And then you got Juwan Taylor, knee, full participation, and then Sky Moore, who no one really cares about.
Sky Moore's not going to play. But if you remember, 2 years ago,
he had a touchdown, right?
He basically had a broken ankle, and then they shot him up with special juice at halftime, and he was fine. I would like to get some of that.
Championship.
Well, he hurt his ankle in the championship game, and then he started the Super Bowl, and he hurt it again. And at halftime, they shot him up with something. We were up 10.
Sunny D, right? Yeah, special juice, Josh.
No.
It's not.
They shot him up with the Patrick Mahomes endorsed horse tranquilizer. They shot that man up with horse trank. I swear to God, because Super Bowl 57, right? That man was on the sideline, like wincing in pain, probably being a diva, probably putting on a show. I won't lie to you. But whatever the hell they gave him at halftime, and that man came back slinging, had to be some kind of painkiller big enough for a horse, because like I don't know, man. Like it seems like it's every year with this guy is, oh, my ankle hurts. Oh, put me on the injury report, coach. I want to make a big deal out of it. And then he comes out and he's slinging. So is it like you just want attention? Are you a whiny little bitch? Like, what is it, man? Because I can't make up my mind.
I think he wants attention. I do. I think a lot of the Chiefs players love being in the spotlight. I think that Travis Kelce actually loves being in the spotlight so much that I think he's going to retire out of football this year and he'll end up regretting it. But one quick thing before we move on, before the injury report, if you guys will join me, I was going to wait for the end of the show, but we might as well do it now. Join me in prayer as we pray for our Eagles. Name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we come to you Sunday, humble in spirit in our request. Lord, you have blessed this world with many wonders, the oceans, mountains, the miracle of life. But above all, you have given us the Philadelphia Eagles. Father, we ask you to guide Jalen Hurts' arm with precision of David's slingshot, that you make Saquon Barkley run like the chariots of fire. I'm talking 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, please. No hamstring issues. And Lord, if it be your will, please let Devonta Smith glide into the end zone, securing both victory and my parlay. We pray for our defense to strike fear into the hearts of Chiefs, much like you struck fear into the Pharaoh when he refused to let your people go. May Patrick Mahomes feel the weight of your divine pass rush, and may Travis Kelce be humbled like Goliath before David, or at least double teamed into irrelevance. Fuck you, Travis. Fuck you, Taylor. Anyway, most importantly, Lord, we ask you for peace on Broad Street. Let there be celebration without destruction, joy with only some overturned cars, and dancing without legal consequences. May only tables be broken in righteous victory, not in reckless abandonment. And finally, Lord, if there's any doubt in your heart about which team to favor, just remember, green is the color of life, renewal, and coincidentally, the color of your favorite football team. In the name of Reggie White, Brian Dawkins, and the holy brotherly shove, we pray.
God's team.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. That might have just blessed us. I don't know. I've actually never prayed before on the podcast. I probably shouldn't have dropped the F-bomb in the middle of the prayer the first time doing that. That's like what not to do, kids. But hey, I mean, it's the attempt sometimes that matters, right? So we're getting prayers on the podcast now. That's what the Eagles being in the Super Bowl losing one time is. And then hopefully this second time around, we'll be like BG. BG's 1-1. He's looking to get the better end of the wishbone. We're looking to just make it a wishbone at this point because our podcast is technically 0-1. We weren't around in 2018, unfortunately, to cover the Super Bowl then. We're looking to get our first. He's looking to get his second. I'm so excited to see Brandon Graham out there. Brandon Graham doesn't even have to be playing in the game. Him just being in his uniform, walking around on the field, talking to players, just in his uniform, right? Like just seeing that, hearing that, that's going to hype up so many guys. I don't care if he gets 5 snaps. I don't care if he gets 10. I don't think he'll get more than 10 to 15. I just don't see that. But if he gets anywhere from 5 to 10, I'm happy with it. Whatever. And honestly, I bet we owe it to him, if anything. And honestly, I bet the way that he played in the beginning of this year with all the rest that he's had, knowing that this is a chance to be his last game, leave everything on the table, he's going to play his ass off. I'm calling it now. I'm going to say Brandon Graham has at least 1 sack. I don't think it will be like later in the game. I hope it is. I could see it being like a first quarter sack, like a big 3rd down, make some punt, something like that, where you're like, oh shit, he's back. I don't know. That's how I see it. But how are all you guys feeling about BG being back?
Yeah, no, this is great. I mean, this is a quick recovery. Hopefully he's at least 95%. Granted, when this first happened, he said he'll be back for the Super Bowl, so it wasn't really that big of a surprise. But yeah, no, it was a very speedy recovery, and it just last time we stopped 3-peat was against the Patriots, and that's when Brandon Graham played out of his mind. So it's definitely a key. He's definitely a key person on this D line that we need. Kind of somebody who's already been in the Super Bowl now 3 times, kind of showing the ropes to the young guys, and I think he's going to leave it all out there on the field. And it's great to have him back because we still had a great season, but we definitely were missing him with the pressure during the regular season. So truly excited that he's back, and I think he's back. I think it's going to be definitely limited snaps for sure. You're not going to see him get 25, 30 snaps. It's going to be probably 15 to 20 just to kind of prevent him from injuring it more, so he's out for longer. But yeah, no, it's definitely an awesome feeling to have somebody who's been on the team his whole career to come back to this big stage.
It's gonna hype the boys up to see him in pads. When he got hurt, you can't play old man football. Like, it's not like old man basketball. So when you're done, you're done. You don't put the pads back on. A part of him probably thought that was the last time he's going to put the pads on ever. He's going to put the pads on Sunday. He's going to dress it up with the boys one more time. I mean, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, they're going to be hyped to see him. And, honestly, one big thing is if the Eagles do have the lead in the end, a lot of times when you're rushing that quarterback in like the 2-minute drill, they'll put your DNs inside. So you could legitimately see a foursome out there of Brandon Graham and Jalen Carter in the middle, and then Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat on the outside, which would be sick to watch one more time. Even though Brandon Graham normally plays on the outside, but just has a huge motivation factor. I mean, he's going to get the boys up. He wears the gold star. He's an insane trash talker. I mean, it's huge just for vibes. Just the ultimate vibes guy.
Shard, any thoughts?
I agree. I mean, I think it's a vibe thing. I think, if he comes out of that tunnel and he's carrying Nakobe Dean's jersey as he runs out of that tunnel, I think it's going to be such a huge thing for not only the city, but just the vibes in general. I think the only thing that might worry me is that this team has kind of gotten used to playing without him. And I just don't know if him coming back into the rotation might scatter things. I don't think it will, but there's always that small possibility. But I wouldn't be surprised either if, with Nakobe Dean being out, I know Zach Vaughn has had the green dot, but do you guys think that maybe like Brandon Graham could have the green dot, or is that just not something that he does?
Maybe probably not. Maybe he helps on the sidelines. Maybe he calls it because Vic Fangio sits upstairs, so maybe BG can help on the sidelines and relay it down to Zach Vaughn or something.
Yeah, I would honestly give the reins to Vaughn at this point. I feel like Vaughn has taken that leadership role. Like you may not see it like on on the hype films and all that because he's not the most marketable player. He's a linebacker. But when you think about like what he does and like the way that he just leads by example. Like he doesn't wait for somebody else to tackle. Like that's a player that should have 99, 101 pursuit in Madden. Like he already hits through you before he's even thought about it. So honestly, I feel like Zach Bond has earned the reins to the green dot. I liked it when N'Kobe had it because N'Kobe's had the most affinity with this team and with the Philly Dongs. You know what I mean? Like he knows these guys. They're his old teammates. So he's going to have the most chemistry with them. But I'm okay with giving it to Bond because in a way, Bond's almost going to play out of his mind as well because like Bond doesn't have that contract yet. So Bond kind of knows like, hey, if I show out in the Super Bowl and like go off and have like a big tackling game, when it's time to negotiate with Howie, I'm going to be able to put it on the table and say, hey, I just did this in the Super Bowl. This is why I'm not a want, I'm a need.
You know, Zach Bond is that secret weapon. You work all your way in a video game and you finally get the final weapon in COD or whatever. It's like a pretty badass weapon. That's Zach Bond because think of it this way. Zach Bond has spent his majority of his career in New Orleans, right? Didn't really do much, wasn't a pivotal person at all in his seasons in New Orleans. And he comes to Philadelphia. He's playing phenomenal football, great defense player of the year. He's going to be that dark horse because this is a home game for him because he grew up playing here. Not because it is a home game for the Eagles, but home because he's played there his whole career. So yeah, you're going to see Zach Bond show out because he knows the stadium. I'm sure some of his fans will be there from New Orleans. And I think, I possibly think that Zach Bond, which they're not going to, but if they do stop Saquon, that he could probably get the MVP of the Super Bowl because it's just kind of the stars align that Zach Bond is this player who, had a few good years, didn't really do much, and then he's having a breakout season. Like I said, back in his home stadium for the Super Bowl, I think Eagles are going to win this game no matter what.
He's the defensive player of the year. He's so good.
Exactly.
He's so good. Yeah, I hate the Saints. I don't know how the Saints could not see that this guy was good. I get that sometimes it's like,
well, you got to keep in mind they didn't have him in his actual position. They had him as an edge rusher.
I blame the Saints
defense coordinator
organization.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Bond. I think everybody does. So hopefully Howie makes the right move. Brandon Graham's going to be suiting up. Good things to come for our Philadelphia Eagles. But given a Super Bowl preview, I mean, there's so many storylines in this game, but the biggest one is making sure that Andy Reid doesn't get that old bundle Rooski. I talked about it in our whiteboard preview. If you guys haven't, go check out our YouTube channel. Me and Havens did an awesome whiteboard preview. But basically in that video, the one thing I talk about is, like Havens said, and Havens talks about as well, is containing Travis Kelce, but I kind of elaborate on Xavier Worthy. Week 1, Xavier Worthy had that big game. And I don't know if you guys remember, but I'm sure you guys remember, Kadarius Toney had that touchdown on us that killed us in the Super Bowl a couple years back. So I don't want Kadarius Toney to be a threat. And I think that the Eagles, like, not only just like cornerbacks besides DeJean and Slay and Rodgers, but also like the special teamers need to be in tune too, because that's what everybody needs to remember is offense and defense can be straight the whole game. But I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was Toney who had the really long it was like an almost punt return where he got down to the 5 or the 10 in the Super Bowl. Did that happen? I feel like it did. I haven't watched the Super Bowl at all this week, so I apologize.
Yes, he did. He had a punt return, and then he caught one of the touchdowns in the second half, and now he's not on any team.
But it takes one play like that. So what I'm trying to say is offensive and defensive, you can be perfect. If special teams slacks up, that could be the way that you lose this game. So, I mean, from head to toe, because the Eagles have been here and lost, I will say history's in Eagles' favor. When they lose to a team in a Super Bowl, they come back and beat them, Patriots. But there's just so many storylines in this game. I really think the Eagles are going to get it done. Jack, Josh, I'll let you guys take this first. What are you guys most looking forward to in this game? And do you guys think that the Birds will get the job done?
there's a lot of parallels. We talked about how the Eagles lose to the Patriots to come back, beat the Patriots. We already lost to the Chiefs. Talk about how, it's Andy Reid, how Trump is in office. I know that's going around. And I get it. I'm super, super superstitious. At the end of the day, though, you win playoff football games by running the ball and playing good defense. And yes, the other team has Patrick Mahomes. Yes, the other team has Kelsey and Andy Reid. But if you were to take these two teams and say, blind resume, this team 1 is playing team 2, 9 out of 10 people are taking the Eagles team. If it's a blank resume, I really do promise that. And yes, having a clutch player like Mahomes definitely adds something to it. And all the black magic, whatever. The Eagles have the better team. The Eagles have the better team, and the Eagles have come back from so much. I know they technically really only lost like 2 games this season. The Commanders' loss was weird because Hurts was hurt. But the Chiefs haven't had adversity in a year and a half. They just haven't. And they're a great team. But the Eagles have so much riding on them. And to be honest with you, I think the way that they fell apart in 2023 and all that stuff has made this our own form of team of destiny, okay? I don't care about the three-peat. The Eagles are the team of destiny. They are the better team. And, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work, and the Eagles have worked hard all season. The Chiefs might be more talented, but the Eagles have the better team, and they've worked way harder.
Yeah, I mean, Josh said it pretty well. I mean, yeah, definitely Eagles have been kind of that. They've been an underdog team their whole force. Yes and no, but their whole 4 seasons with Nick Sirianni, because no one believed Nick Sirianni that he was a good coach, that he's just a guy who screams at kids and things like that. And then, we had a chance to, it's the best players. There's no way this team shouldn't be in the Super Bowl. They have all these hatred towards the team, their whole last 4 seasons. And I think that us continuously proving these haters wrong constantly, this means that we're built to last, just like a Ford, not GMC. But anyway, definitely, no matter what, if we were the 1 seed and had a bye week, we're still the underdog because everyone hates Philadelphia. We haven't really made a name for ourselves in the Super Bowl or playoffs until 7 years ago. So yeah, this Eagles team is definitely the underdog, and they are, like Josh said, a team of destiny because Jalen Hurts has been constantly battered, saying you're not a good quarterback, you're not a franchise quarterback, you can't throw the ball, you make terrible mistakes, and he kept coming back, and now he's in his 2nd Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. So it just goes to show that the grit that this team has is not comparable to any team's grit at all. Granted, it's great to start. These Chiefs are kind of like the trophy child of the NFL right now, with Patrick Mahomes, who's been, in the playoffs, a starter in the playoffs, eight seasons, right? You have Travis Kelce, who's dating Taylor Swift. So, it just goes to show, okay, no matter what, back pin against the wall, we got to rely on the city. We got to rely on our coaches. We got to rely on the fan base. And we have done that time in and time again. So there is no doubt in my mind that this team is going to win the Super Bowl. And, I can't wait to see Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce cry, at midfield that they lost the game, because fuck the Chiefs. Fuck the Chiefs. Fuck Patrick Mahomes. Fuck Travis Kelce. Fuck Taylor Swift. She's a fraud because she said she's an Eagles fan. She said she's an Eagles fan, but now she's dating Patrick Mahomes. Fuck her.
She might be a win.
And her dad also, because he's diehard Eagles fans. But you know what? They asked Travis Kelce at the media day, what is Taylor Swift's dad going to wear? And he said some red. So fuck those fake friends. Fuck those fake people. Birds by a billion. Chart?
I don't want to say this, but again, I said it at the beginning of the show, I'm not fully confident, but I'm not also fully kind of in despair. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a challenging game. I mean, you got one of the best defensive minds in Vic Fangio going against Andy Reid. I think Spags is a good defensive coordinator as well. I think, we've seen him. We've seen him the past couple times. I believe he's been on the team for a couple years. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we've seen him in the Super Bowl. We saw him last year. We went into Arrowhead with a worse offense, a worse defense, still found a way to beat them. Didn't have the weapons that we have now. Didn't have Saquon Barkley. Didn't have Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. I can go through the list. You know what I mean? I do think we win. The score in my head for the past couple of days has been the Eagles win 31-24. And I think, there's going to be some kind of last minute. I don't know whether it's going to be offense or defense, but I want to say that there's going to be some kind of last minute thing that happens to ice the game, whether that's a late touchdown, whether that's a strip sack, interception, whatever. I just think there's going to be something late in the game that kind of ices the game. But to close out, really, we just need to, and we've done a really good job of this all year. You just have to control possession. You got to control possession. You got to make sure, against the Commanders, I think the issue against them was that we scored way too fast in the beginning. And we saw in that first half where we scored, and going into halftime, it was a very close game until the second half. Now, again, saying what I said earlier, this team has shown that they're really good at adjusting second half. So if you need to make adjustments going into the half, granted, if you're up, Super Bowl 57, like you said, Dalt, we were up a decent amount. Even if we're up, you got to put you got to keep your foot on the gas, make adjustments, keep it rolling. You got to basically put your foot on their neck. You can't let them get up. It's like a fight. If you let them get up, they're going to come back. They could knock you out. So, I mean, really, it's just like you got to keep it going. You got to keep it going. I think it's going to be a big game defensively. I really do think it's going to be a big game defensively. And the last thing I want to say, and I hope that Sirianni is preaching this in practice in this week, play clean football. Play clean football. Wear white gloves. Because we all know, Patrick Mahomes at the end of Super Bowl 57, holding, got up off the ground, screaming, holding. So, again, wear white gloves. Play clean football. Don't get dumb flags. Don't get illegal man downfield, because I know that's been an issue for us lately. Just, again, clean football. Play good football. Play defensively. Foot on neck. Go Birds.
I love that take, too, about white gloves. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely Dawn. I'm going to do my little speech real quick if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to say, I actually had a joke to make. It's funny. The Chiefs thought it was another easy Super Bowl, but then they realized that the Eagles weren't bringing Jonathan Gannon's defense this time. Sorry, Chiefs fans. Not that Jonathan Gannon's defense was bad, but it'll definitely be better this time around. This ain't the same defense you guys saw the first time around. This is Vic the Mick Grandpapa Fangio. And the only other thing I wanted to say before I kick it to Jack to wrap up the show, and thank you guys all for tuning in. We really appreciate y'all. We'll be back next week for the regular show to cover whatever happens, win or loss. And then we'll be ending season 7, getting ready for season 8. So there will be a week off that Wednesday night. The new showtime moving forward is also going to be 8:05, just so you guys are aware of that. But I want to leave you Eagles fans with this thought. The moment that Jalen Hurts raises that Lombardi over Carson Wentz's head and just looks over at him has got to be such like a fuck you moment. But it could be the other way around. If Carson Wentz gets the Lombardi, him looking at the entire Eagles team, the team that drafting him, is going to be a fuck you moment to him. I'd rather be saying fuck you than somebody saying fuck you to me. I know that's like a weird analogy, but if you're from Philly, you definitely understand what I just said. Point being, dog eat dog world. It's going to be a dog fight, Eagles, and come out swinging. Jackson, get us hyped.
Yes, sir. So, fine words from Daddy Jack. Ready, boys? Eagles Nation, this is our moment. We battled through every obstacle, silenced every doubter, and now we stand on the biggest stage in football, ready to claim what is ours. This team, this city, and these fans know what it means to fight for every inch, to never back down, to embrace the underdog mentality, and turn it into a dominance. From the first snap of the season to the final whistle of this game, I'd spend about one thing: bringing that Lombardi trophy back home to Philadelphia. Can I get a go Birds? Birds by a billion.
Go Birds!
That's all I got to say.
And then without further ado, hey, Josh, it's an outro, not an intro. Hit that motherfucking outro. Go Birds, Super Bowl 59 champions.